Back here on a good word. Now, Jake, the USA, I think a couple weeks ago in one of their exhibition games, they were a 42-point favorite against South Sudan, and they found themselves in a dogfight. That was the game where LeBron James had to do the driving layup to win the game. And I think Ant had to foul someone underneath the basket, and the refs swallowed their whistles because they didn't want any problems out there. But
it was the USA basketball showcase. It wasn't the USA versus South Sudan showcase. Let's be clear.
You said it, not me. I mean, look. Here's the thing about USA basketball. They don't actually bring in money, so they have to make money. That's what that is. You have to start making money. So what do? You go to places that want to see you play and will pay premium top dollar to do so. And you play one game in Vegas and then you go play everywhere else. It's a very simple equation. Now, South Sudan even being here is an accomplishment, right? Luol Deng, former NBA player, Royal Ivy, who I think, should be starting to get some NBA real coaching looks because of the job that he's done, with South Sudan. South Sudan, they beat Puerto Rico in the first game, 90-79, I believe, right before the USA played. Do you think there's any cause for worry in this matchup, or did the USA get their wake-up call initially in that USA basketball showcase?
I am not worried for Team USA. I think they're a great story. Yes, I think Royal Ivy will start to get some buzz in coaching stuff. I don't know for certain, but I believe he was at least a name bandied about on the interview circuit for Charlotte this past summer, although there was definite expectation that job was going to go to Charles Lee, as it did. But Jeff Peterson coming over from Brooklyn. Royal Ivy was an assistant in Brooklyn for several years, both with Kevin Durant and beyond Kevin Durant.
Right.
So that connection was obvious of why he'd be someone on that interview radar. And what he's doing with South Sudan has to be getting attention for sure. There's no active NBA player on this roster, despite Carlick Jones's storied two-way experience, and Wendy and Gabriel's had cups of coffee with the Lakers and the Kings and what have you. But I just don't think this roster has the true firepower to compete. I mean, the exhibition play was terrific, and Carlick is great, and he's making a lot of money overseas for good reason. But I don't think they have enough to compete with a team that can bench Jason Tatum and win by 30. So it will be, I think, interesting just to see how much Team USA wants to maybe exact some revenge from that potential near embarrassment that almost came at the exhibition. But also South Sudan, they're the 33rd ranked team in the world. That's not nothing. Like, only 32 teams qualify for the World Cup, so as they did a year ago. So they're a real player in this FIBA landscape. That doesn't mean that they have a real opportunity to compete with the big boys and in this 12-team field. For those of our listeners who aren't fully aware, there's some jankiness to how certain teams get into this field because there's a representative of the continent of Africa, and the competition is not nearly the same as you have to get out of Europe, for example. Like Lithuania not being in this tournament is because there's Greece, and there's Serbia, and there's France, and there's Spain, and there could have been however many teams from Croatia and whoever. So, I think they had an easier road just by being the top finishing team of all the African teams in the World Cup play a year ago. And same thing with Australia and the Pacific Island. That bracket is not nearly as competitive, even as Canada and the US have to go through in the North American pool, where you've had Puerto Rico is in this as well. That is what it is, but that's not to take away from what they've built, because South Sudan's one of the youngest countries in the world, and the fact that they have put together this program with major respect to Luol Deng, who by all accounts has been the bankroll to, and Team USA doesn't have to pay these guys because it's an honor, but for a lot of these other programs, like you're shelling out cash to get certain players to come play for you. And that's just kind of a shadow part of the FIBA game. And there's strings being pulled to get certain guys, certain passports and what have you. So Luol Deng definitely deserves a lot of credit for what he's done to help put this program on the map.
Yeah. But in short, and the game is, I think, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. I think that's
correct.
9 p.m. game in France because of the 6-hour difference. I don't anticipate that it will be as close, but I do think that the U.S. could have problems with more athletic teams because you look at U.S. and you see the skill, but you don't see the big, super big, strong guys. Like LeBron even has to pick and choose his spots. And he was excellent in the first game, but you can see some people dotting LeBron's eye a few times, like not being afraid of him getting down in the defensive stance. Like you see more skill and more, end-to-end stuff, but not necessarily short burst quickness that the U.S. has. That's why you have the Embiids and the Bams and the ADs at the rim, because you don't necessarily have those big, strong wings. Like you don't have an Aaron Gordon there. You don't have a Jaylen Brown there. Like that's some of the things that you give up, even though the U.S. has an embarrassment of riches in terms of talent, and we are expecting them to roll through this entire tournament to win yet another gold medal.